go.
Been on, and there's that. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! It is the Daytime Today live here on Tuesday night. What night is this? Tuesday night. I mean, James Lott Jr., your host. I am JLJ Media, of course. And it's our roundtable. Kids, you guys enjoyed the first two, so I said let's do some more. And I also want to tell everybody out there who's been reaching out to all the different podcasts. Oh my goodness! That's my mouth. My goodness! Shut up, James. Wait, shut up, Jay. I tell you, shut up. Oh, my mouth just keeps running. We have more. I'm going to get to everybody. I got people from all over the soap universe coming. And as you guys know, we have one coming up Thursday and one next Monday. And there'll be some coming back in July. So I'm like, it's kind of happily overwhelming. There's a lot of soap podcast hosts. I love it. But tonight, I just love this guy. I love bringing these groups together. I love this. First, you know her. She's part of our Shady Sundays on our sister network, Dishin Days, where they say how old I am. And truly, I am that old. Let's help me welcome from Dishin Days, Araceli Aviles. Hola, chica.
Hola.
Good to see you. I'm glad. Welcome to your JLJ Media debut, or as my aunt says, debut. Yes.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to have you. Okay, now of course, I have people come to chat for, hey, come on in, the water's fine. Okay, he's been on the show before, but also a long time, it's been a while, but he does some voiceover stuff for me too. He has his little media empire he's growing too, called Sons of the Square Circle. Ladies and gentlemen, Vinnie Apicella. Hi, Vinnie.
What's going on, James? I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be up past, my bedtime.
I know. Yes, I didn't know you've been busy. You haven't been on here in a while, so I'm glad you're up with us today. Now, so of course you know her. She's a JLJ Media just exclusive. I'll say exclusive. But she also has her Bone Beautiful podcast. It's very popular too. Hi, welcome, my girl on Sundays, Amanda Russ.
Hi, guys.
Can you hear her?
Excited. I'm excited. I hope you can hear me today.
David, who's in the chat, he'll be on, I think, is it next Monday, David? He'll be on next Monday, I believe.
What?
So I got to tell you guys. They say, James, you have to promote. Okay. So here's the deal, kids. It's a church announcement, like Trick or Treat would say. On Thursday, it's Kim Pinto, who works with Suds and Square Circle Media. My friend Dion from GH Envy, who's a long-time associate. And that crazy kid, Albert Bostic. They'll be on Thursday night, 7 p.m. And on Monday, it's the girls from Pier 54 podcast who do GH. Another Amanda, and Shannon, who've been on our show a long time ago. And then David, who's in the chat, who's he has a new podcast, NGE. He'll be on Monday. So we're doing that. And tell me, I got more coming, folks. More coming. So you check out with us.
Hey.
Yes, we're so excited.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, I got more.
Hey, David.
David's coming on. David's coming on. And Candace Mack, who was on, is in here. Says, I love you guys. I'm a fan of all of yours.
Candace, mind your business. Mind your business, Candace. You
Shady
ain't on
Tuesday.
this. You are not on this
That's
episode,
right.
Candace.
Yes, Shady Tuesday. But anyway, so thank you. So make sure at the end, I'm gonna let them tell you Araceli them with their, their shows. I'm gonna let them promote, of course. I want you to check out their shows too. The point of me doing this, it's called the Host of Soap Podcast. We are the ones who give you our opinions on the soaps. We get the most hate, the most vitriol, but you also love us at the same time. So that's why this is a very specific podcast roundtable set. So we're gonna get started, kids. First of all, my first question is to Araceli Aviles.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say it 10 times. I love that. They can practice my Spanish. So girlfriend, you're surrounded by three dudes every Sunday. Just about.
Yes.
What is that like being the female voice of the podcast of Dishin Days?
Well, I mean, I consider it all of us kind of just gal palling around until the subject of, pregnancy or fertility comes up in a storyline. And then I have to kind of put my female hat on and say, okay, this is how a woman's body works.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So like we had a miscarriage storyline but yeah, about a year and a half ago now, on the show. And I think it was specifically a molar pregnancy, and the guys could just not understand how how they could have gotten um the doctor was basically whatever the doctor was saying, they just could not understand it. Like they could understand the concept of like, well, you see the baby and now the baby you now you're saying the baby's not where it's supposed to be. And I'm like, that's not how it works. That's not how an ultrasound works. That's not how diagnosing a pregnancy works. I had to talk them through like, this is how you do it on a blood test. This is the hormone they're looking for. This is what there's different ultrasound machines depending on how far along you are in a pregnancy. Like I had to talk them through all of that, and still they wanted to argue like, no, the doctor got it wrong. And I'm like, I can't with you. So unless it comes to that subject, we usually just have a good chit chat.
That's good. I love it out there. It's funny. Now, Vinny, I want to ask you because you have a wife who's also a JLJ Media voice actress on this. We have actually a series out called, oh my God, Fairview Heights City Hall. Oh my God, I blink all of a sudden. Out every Friday. She's on that series. It's out. It's doing very well. So I want to ask you, Vinny, does she watch soaps? I don't think I've ever asked her that. Are you a soap watcher?
I'm the soap watcher. She's not a soap watcher. As a matter of fact, she's told me that she prefers the wrestling that I watch to the soaps. But what's funny is she plays Sims on her computer, and with all of the stuff that she talks about, I'm like, that could literally be an episode of Days of Our Lives. You know, I think she was telling me that the guy's wife died, but then she got pregnant from the guy and gave birth to a ghost baby. I don't know. I never played the game, but I'm like, yeah, that's getting into Days territory. So
hilarious. Candace says The Sims is a soap opera. Okay,
It is.
I haven't played Sims in years. I mean, like in years. That's hilarious. Oh my God. Amanda Reth. So your story's so different because you joined. So Amanda came onto one of my shows and just never left. That's just how that works. She just globbed on and that was it. So what's because most of the people I work with, obviously, we're all ex-After Brothers. We were all together there. So what was it like for you to come on? Because now you're a regular. I mean, what's it like to come on to a show, almost like somebody coming into a show that's already been on the air, and then you kind of come in. What's that like been for you?
At first, I was so nervous. Like I was having a heart attack. And then like our third show, we were like interviewing Annika and then interviewing like someone else. I want to say Lawrence. And I'm like losing my mind. I've never been on camera. I've never done this before. What it is I was kind of obsessed with James, actually. And I watched all of his stuff and listened to all of his stuff. And one day I said, I just wrote him a message and I was like, I love you. I'm not weird though. No, and I was like, he did an episode. My mom had died and he did an episode and I was like, thank you for that episode. Because it like really helped because I was not doing well. And then you talked about your brother and you talked about all these things. And I wrote him and he was like, well, just come on my show. Mm-hmm. And then I just didn't leave.
Didn't. The door was open and that was it, kids. Yeah. So folks that know at home, so I had a brother who passed away, my brother Max, about I don't know how many years ago, but it's been a while. And I talked about it on the soap shows because it was very painful for me. So that's what I talked about, the grief and how we go through that. So very tough. But yeah, she wrote to me. I remember you wrote to me. I remember you DM'd me. I think it was on Twitter when it was Twitter. And then with Vinny, same thing. We knew each other online. I think were you an AfterBuzzer too, or would you catch me during the pandemic?
I was not an AfterBuzzer, but I listened to your show on AfterBuzz for GH, and funnily enough, I also listened to X-Pac show, which was also on AfterBuzz.
Yep, I know X-Pac.
So
I knew him.
It's like, and then I just was searching for GH podcasts after AfterBuzz left, and I found your name, and I recognized your name from there, and the rest is history.
We
Basically.
started talking. Well, Vinny's a big old bear, so of course I like that. I'm attracted to that, of course. Too bad he's married, so that's too bad he's married. Actually, I actually like her too, so it's crazy. So I was like, I'll talk to Vinny. He's cute. I'll talk to him. But yeah, we have the whole wrestling because after was such a big wrestling thing, obviously. That we were the soap side. But our side, I just ever ask you this yourself: how did Tony find you? He found you and Justin, but like how I know Justin's story, but I don't know yours.
I want to say, I don't even know if this still exists, but IMDb. So IMDb used to have a news section, and I was scrolling through it one day, and I think he put out like some kind of an ad or something somewhere, and it came up, and I was like, oh well, I can do that, because this was in the middle, like right as the pandemic was getting into it, and I think that they, think it was the point where they had must have been, yeah, it was October. It was October of 2020. And Justin and I both did like audition pieces, and our, we just worked out and we've been with them ever since.
Yeah, no, yeah, I always forgot about that. I was like, how do you find you guys? Like, how do you find you?
Yeah.
Because were you doing any? Because I know you do a lot of different things, but were you doing any hosting at the time at all?
Not at that time. I had kind of weaned myself off of it. I was the managing editor for a TV site called TV Overmind.
Wow.
At the for about a year. I had been with them for about 4 years, I think.
Wow.
So I think my articles are still up there if you want to search my name for them. But yeah, I was doing a lot of reviews. I would say I was doing like 10 articles a week
Wow.
for that site. Yeah, I was doing like 10 articles a week, averaging. I became the managing editor for about a year. And so through that, I would cover different conventions. Like I went to Comic-Con for 3-4
Oh
years.
wow.
Yeah, did different things at Paley.
Oh,
So I had hosting experience through that.
okay.
But then like as the I weaned myself down during grad school, and then the pandemic hit and I had nothing to do, and so I was like, oh well, I guess this is something to kind of keep me
Yeah,
active.
yeah. That's really good. I was like, God, wow, yes. I knew you did other things. I know you did other things and stuff. So I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. That's very cool. I have to look it
Mhm.
up and see what's like. Nothing on the internet's really gone.
Yeah.
True.
It has to be somewhere. It has to be
Yeah,
somewhere.
although I didn't there are some stories and some content that I had that I actually I didn't end up posting because out of spite.
Like, oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I love spites. I love spites. I'm very petty. I love that.
Hmm.
So Vinny, for you, because you have a different angle for your soap. Our shows are very straightforward. People laugh, but why my shows are hits because I named them the Bold and Beautiful Mean Spotlight. I don't no fancy names, no Port Charles, this and that. It is just basically the Knots Landing after show. I mean, we look at nowhere because I was taught, the simpler you make it, they will come. But for you, you're doing something that you're trying to do something with this whole wrestling thing, two things you love, wrestling and soaps, and there's always the debates. Wrestling soap operas. All right, so anyway, so how has that been for you? I know we've talked off camera a few times, but how has that been that you're still trying to kind of figure all that out?
To be honest with you, I love it because I use wrestling terminology during my shows to describe what's going on the soap opera.
I
Like,
love that.
Like a heel? I don't want a heel.
yeah,
Means. I don't know what
a
a heel
baby
means.
face, a
I
heel,
know memes.
um,
What that means.
a swerve.
Yeah.
It's like
A
I
baby face.
yeah, exactly. So I enjoy it because I absolutely love it. Um, when I came up with the concept, I wanted to take it a different angle because there are so many we'll just say General Hospital podcast, let alone soap podcasts. So coming at it, and originally I was doing both wrestling and soap operas on one show, but then it got to the point where getting in a co-host who didn't know anything about wrestling, and this isn't Angela, this is prior to Angela.
Oh yeah.
My previous co-host knew nothing about wrestling, so we were both on screen. I was talking about what was going on in wrestling. She was kind of just sitting there. So I'm like, I have to separate these. Now I'm part of a media network, Chair Shot Media Group, that, you know, my YouTube page has a lot of wrestling content and I provide the soap content. So it works out. And then I'm guesting on the wrestling content and it works out. And I'm able to compare storylines, compare, the writing and how the writing is, changed over the years in both genres. And it's great. I'm able to go back and forth and, compare characters from the soaps to the WWE and just how, the characters have evolved and how they're alike, how they're different. It seems natural to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In the chat, WWE has some wild storylines like in daytime. They're laughing, yes. It's funny because when you came out, I was like, what does that mean? I don't know anything what that means. And then Flobo explained it to me what that meant. I was like, I had no idea what it meant. But I want to give a shout out to what is your other part of your company? The Wild Chair File. What's the place? I don't want to
Chair
butcher it.
Shot Media Group.
Chair Shot Media Group, because you guys are following me on stuff. So thank you. I appreciate that. I followed you back. I appreciate follows. I was like, I don't know who you guys are, but I'll take it. Content. I'm like, sure, I'll follow you back. But I'll give a shout out on the show. Give a shout out. So maybe more people come to you guys. Do that. My first question, kind of actual soap questions for you guys is, on the shows that you watch, what is one trope you are just like, I am done. I am so over this trope. They use it too much. I am just done. And because I know so, obviously you watch 2 soaps. Amanda, I think you watch 2 or 3. You watch like me a bunch. So just you can pick any trope, just any whatever one trope. We'll start with you, Amanda. Start with you.
Okay, I'm gonna go with
Yes.
the always faithful pregnancy story.
Yes.
They hooked up. No one knows it's a secret. And then boom, she's pregnant. Now they got to tell everybody or they got to lie. That is so old. I'm over it. Enough.
I know I'm with you. I'm just like that. Yeah. Usually,
Enough.
I know you got to repopulate the cities, but it's like a little too much. Miss Araceli, what's one trope that you're just like, oh, I'm done?
I think it's gotta be the female needing to be saved.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us,
Yes.
come on, Araceli, please take it out. Because you ladies,
Yes.
you mainly, they make you guys look bad. I think they make you guys
Well,
look bad.
the thing is, I think that it's not just outdated. It has decades of experience in being proven false.
Right.
And not just false in practicality, but false in the sense of it all of the legacy couples that you think of, like off the top of your head, all of the legacy couples, the ones that lasted did not follow that format. It was always a team effort of the man saves the woman saves the man, and now we're seeing that, with the more same-sex couples we have coming up on soaps. It's a team effort. That's what a couple is. That's what makes a super couple, is that you save each other. It's not one or the other.
Right.
I agree with that. Amanda, before we get to Amanda, we want to add on that a little bit, because I know we talk about that all, especially on Bold and Beautiful. Ooh, and Brooke and Taylor.
No, I agree. They make Brooke look so crazy. She looks like she is just lost it. running around after him, begging him.
Right.
And look how she, like, really? Oh, it just drives me crazy. And then Taylor, every 5 minutes. I'm not insecure. 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 Girl. Yes, she is.
You know what? Off of that, I will actually amend my trope. I will actually amend it. It's not the savior, it's the idea, because I think the core values of a relationship are you work as a team. So I will amend it to say the idea of the destined couple.
Oh, there we go. That's Brooklyn. That's Brooklyn. Destiny.
Yep.
The idea of the destined couple.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I know. It's just we say that every week on that show, like, oh my gosh, she's my destiny. We're like, oh, take a drink. Take a drink. You're laughing. So anything you want to add to that part before we get to your show? Anything you want to add?
No, I really don't have anything to add to that.
I agree with that. I agree with you guys with that because they're saying in the chat they're done with the triangles and soaps. They're done with that, but you kind of need triangles sometimes. It's kind of a soap thing. You kind of,
No, you can have a good triangle.
Yeah.
That's not that's not what we're saying. But to have the same triangle go on for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, that's ridiculous.
Well,
that's insane.
That's bold and beautiful. That's bold and beautiful. Right there. Whew, yes, that's good. That's good.
And we watch it.
We watch it every week.
What does that say about us?
Hey, we get good ratings. Our shows get good ratings. That's right. Good ratings. And we know the actors. Well, Vinnie, what is your trope that you're like, oh, please stop?
I have to say it's something that really doesn't come around a lot.
Okay.
But it's whenever they kill off a kid. Whether it's a baby, dying or, a kid dying from whatever, from a car accident or what have you, that tugs at the heartstrings. And I feel like that has no place, and I know Angela says that kids on soaps are just props because they really don't have storylines.
They are, though. They are.
Until they become teenagers or whatever. So it's, but my thing is you have to build up the families to go forward into the future. And we have the kids coming through, and I know they keep a select few or whatever, but send them to boarding school, send them to live with a distant relative, different ways of getting rid of them in order to source them later on, what have you. I don't like the kids dying. That's just my biggest thing. And sure, maybe I became a softie after I became a father, but that's honestly my biggest thing is I don't like seeing kids die. When Sasha had her
Liam
die like right after birth on GH, that like you could feel the emotion from those scenes, and to lose her husband and her baby within the same year, just everything that Sasha went through, that was just
she went through everything. She went through everything.
Yeah, but yeah, I can't take kids dying.
Well, it's so funny you say it doesn't happen very often. That's the only thing, because my trope that I don't like is similar to yours. I mean, I don't mind the kids dying. I mean, I don't say it like that. I won't be cutting that out and making it today. My point is that I don't like miscarriages. I'm tired of that. That trope is just done. Women aren't incubators just to have their bodies just like, I mean, having a miscarriage is rough. I mean, I've never had one. I know folks who've had them. I'm also a former nurse. That shit's rough. So I'm tired of this whole thing. Like, you just want to get rid of the baby. Oh, I had a miscarriage. I mean, that's something to play with. I think they do it a little too much. I think so. It's almost like a cousin to your thought, Vinnie, but they don't kill kids off that very often. So I don't know. But let's go into the kids a little bit. I mean, there's some kids on soaps. People I know, the fans know. I was not a violent fan on GH. That girl the girl's a good little actress, I guess. I don't talk crap about kids. The character was not one of my favorites. While Henry Samry, who played Bold and Beautiful as little Douglas, he was the bomb diggity. For some reason, he carried story. He was just like so good. So he said, a friend of ours who will be on the round table later on. She'll be on a round table later on. What are kids to you on soaps? What do they represent to you on soaps? Whoever wants to start can start. Like, what do they mean to you on soaps? Are they props? Are they next generation? Should they be seen, not heard? I mean, like, what's like? Because sometimes some of those we have some really great young actors like Robin on GH. Kimberly McCullough is a great child actress.
Kimberly McCullough, I think is
Exception.
yeah, you know what it is? I think we got spoiled. For years and years and years on General Hospital in particular, we were spoiled with the children. Because Kimberly McCullough and Jonathan Jackson were in a class of their own.
Yeah, you're right.
Because they were not child actors, they were actors. Day one when they walked in the door. Yeah. And so when we talk about child actors now, it's like it's a matter of who is actually in this to take on the role seriously. Like what's his face who portrayed young Sheldon. Like you knew that like from the second that kid walked in the door, he was an actor. He was there for the role, for the job. He embodied the role. And so I think it's just a matter of like sometimes we get spoiled with those kinds of people, and that's not necessarily all children who are working in the industry. Not to mention the industry has changed quite a bit since that time. You know, rules about, you know, you have to go to school and you have to have like a certain number of, there's time limits. There's a number of hours that you can work depending on your age group. And I think like in infants, people always complain about like, well, why don't we see the baby, and why is the baby a doll? I'm like, because you don't know how, because you don't know how much it costs to get a brand new baby in, and do you know how like I think it's like an hour max or something like that they are allowed to be there, and it's not one, it's usually a set of twins.
Yes, it is.
So imagine having to do that, having to work around that, and then what if the kids are cranky? You know, we're not dealing with the Olsen twins here.
Yes. Good point, Araceli. Wow, that's really good point.
That is a good point.
Because Amanda, I'm thinking of on Guiding Light, we had little Hayden Panettiere.
She was so good.
Female storyline. Oh my gosh, she was so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You're right. Back then they had stuff. Wait, go ahead, Amanda. You go off of that. What are your thoughts on that? I love that.
Well, you mean the kids in general?
Yeah, because back in the day they were kind of better back then. I'm sorry, they were.
Yeah. I don't need the kids. I don't care about the kids. I don't care what school they're going to. I don't care that they're getting seashells off of the beach. I don't have kids. I don't hate kids, okay? I don't want hate mail. I don't hate kids. I can't have them. I don't have them. I'm not going to have them. So it's not by choice, but it is what it is. I can't have them. So I don't care about the kids. I got a different angle of it. Like, I don't care.
I love it.
Yeah. I really don't. I'm like Vinny. You can send them off to boarding school and give me updates, and I'm good. I'm good.
But in terms of like, if they were to give a kid like a really good meaty storyline.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like I love Douglas.
Even a good art in a storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've seen, you know, and I could, you know, go based off General Hospital, but like when they had little James, he's a ham whenever he's on this.
He is. He's cute.
You know, and I love just how much he's on there, and it's a realism type of role for him. You know, when Maxie says, "Oh, we'll be back to the hospital," because I'm sure he'll do something stupid, you know, in a month to, you know, break his arm or break his leg or whatever. I mean, hell, I broke my wrist trying to run backwards down my basement when I was a kid. Years old. So,
that sounds like something I would do.
I tripped over my own feet. What can I say? But you know, but again, it's like, around the holidays, maybe, you bring them around for the
Yeah.
family, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Yes. Yeah.
But outside of that, really, until they're teenagers and getting into the summer and the summer of teen stories, you
Mhm.
really don't need them around. Have the baby on screen, establish part of the family. Then it's like, they're upstairs in their room. They're in the nursery. They're with Pilar. They're with,
Mhm.
and you don't see them until they emerge, for the Halloween episode, or just
Right.
kind of establish that they're still there.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm good with that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need kids all the time. It's an adult show. I don't need kids all the
Right.
Yeah.
Well, to that end, I mean, I feel the same way about certain adults that are on the canvas. I'm like,
time. Yeah.
like if you're going to be in the room, please use them. Give them some kind of dialogue, some kind of purpose. Otherwise, they don't need to be there.
Yeah. Candace Mack says something that's really true. Back in the day, you had writers who wrote for children and gave the material that wasn't just during the summer.
That's true.
But also remember, though, the summer, a lot of times because school was out, there were a lot of
Mhm.
teen and kid storylines back in the day. They used to do that very much. So
And
it is,
not to mention society has changed because you have a lot less housewives that are watching the soaps. So, the audience has changed, the just everything has changed around the genre.
yeah, it's true.
Can I amend something?
She was just on my show all the time. No, just kidding.
All right. I like the young adults. Like, I like the tweens or like the young adults. I don't mind that. I have a niece who I adore. So like she's around that age. So like I don't mind that. But I mean like the little kids. Like I agree with you. You don't need a baby. Get a baby doll. They have realistic baby dolls. You don't need a real baby. Like I agree with you. That's weird.
I never thought this conversation would go this direction. I love it. I was like, is that oh my god, they agree that Robin Scorpio was the example. Is the example? Yeah, I mean, she just is. I
Robin
love
Scorpio
kids.
was the example.
She was example. I love kids in daytime. They have a voice. I agree with Araceli. You have actors who were babies when they got their roles and grew up, still playing them.
Mhm.
That is amazing.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true too. There's some that just need to kind of, but yeah, now I mean, like, Days of Our Lives back in the day, the whole Last Blast on it. They were all young. All those actors were young, but you're right, they were all teens. They were all teens. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like we have a crop of like the teen scene that's coming up right now on Days. They're obviously past 18 years old in real life, but they're all playing the teen
Right.
scene, and it's the first time I felt maybe in about a decade or so that we've had that kind of a scene really leveled out, and each one has good storylines. They're not props, just to fill in, like, this is the so and so's friend. Each of them has their own individual place on the canvas, which I really appreciate. And then we have one child who I would say is central to a current storyline. And is probably going to be going forth. I don't know if they're going to stick with this actress because she has booked other work since then. But the character itself, we have actively talked about in the last few years as being a holy terror. So like even if that's their role,
Right.
like if they play it right, then, and we're talking about it, then it's like that's the material that I want to see. That's the material that I'm wanting to talk about, not just use them for props.
Well, it's like, well, because on that, because there's little Rachel, right? Rachel
Oh
Black.
yeah.
That girl's
Holy
good
terror.
though. That girl's good.
She's and they recently changed actresses, and both are fantastic, and you could see that they are going into a big storyline. But yes, we are actively for the last at least 2 years or so have said, oh my god, this child if this child is like this now, what the heck is going to happen when she becomes a teenager? It's terrifying to think about.
Yes, Matt Bell says Charlotte on GH was much more interesting when she was younger than she is now. Great acting then too.
That's true. Yeah, that's true too. But I think is more like the actress did grow
Yeah,
up and she's more
yeah,
involved in school and
I
things
agree.
like that.
Yeah,
So it's kind of a thing where you have to make a decision.
yeah, that was Scarlett Fernandez. She's good.
Mhm.
Donald People says, the newest soap Beyond the Gates on the Block, do you think Terrell, Samantha, Martin, and Sweet's teen kids will get summer stories? I don't know. Donald, I have my own thoughts about that whole family. I'm not a fan of the gay couple. Sorry, folks. I'm not a fan. I see no chemistry. But that's another story. So I think it's just too weird. It's weird they have teen kids. I think it's all weird. So that's a whole other story for me, Donald. That's a whole other show. So I don't know. But I'm
Yeah, those
enjoying.
kids are not believable as teens.
No, they're not. They're none of that's believable. But I do love Beyond the Gates. But I'm not saying, but that whole family right there, I'm not buying any of it. So that's just me. About 8 months after Brady Black was born, then came Kyle Louder. Well, they saw razzing. Saw razzing happens all the time. Saw razzing happens all the
So
time.
wrestling is a whole other thing.
Right, it's on the show too. Or like when Bobby Warner from All My Children went up the stairs to get skis and never came down. So there's that. There's that also. So I mean that just happens, so on soap sometimes. But okay, so that's good. That's a good discussion. I have another question here. Um, since we are soap hosts, I'll make sure it's very clear for soap hosts. How do you handle sensitive storylines? For example, Araceli, you guys went through like in the last year, you had the real life deaths of people, and then the on screen deaths of John Black and I would say Bill Hayes, of Doug Williams. Um, I've done shows where we've lost. For us it was Jackie Zeman. If you're General Hospital, we had Bobby and all stuff. How do you guys? I cry on my shows. They don't give. You don't give. I cry. I cry. I laugh. I cuss. I do everything on my shows. So I let it out because I think when they do a good job, make you feel something. I don't want to hide it. But you guys are soap hosts. What do you guys do when it comes to covering those sensitive stories? And I'll start with you, Vinny. I've heard from you for a little bit. So how do you approach them?
I have no filter. So I just come right out and talk about whatever, sensitive topic or sensitive issue there is. Um, you know, I don't I don't like censorship, so try not to I try not to censor my words regardless of YouTube, you know, all this buzz around, YouTube not monetizing you because you say certain words or whatever. Um, when it comes to the sensitive storyline, because we were covering Jackie Zeman's death, Bobby's death, as well. So um I just report it, I talk about it, I give my feelings, I analyze the stories, and I analyze how they write the stories. Like right now, we're gearing up towards Monica's death at some point. Um, and I'm anxious to see how the writers, because they're taking their time to put it together properly. I want to see what story they're doing to have her pass, and how it's going to come about and who's going to find her. I analyze the story. I keep it to the story. You know, yeah, I'll talk about the real life tragedies and situations that happened, like when Leslie Charleston in real life passed away. We do a 10 bell salute at the beginning of any show whenever we find out that somebody from either soap or wrestling passes away. Because we show respect to the actor or wrestler that passed. Um, but we don't shy away from anything.
You guys had some wrestlers pass too recently, so I mean I know
Yeah.
that. You got that too. That is kind of crazy. But Arceli, I got to ask you because I mean, like I said, you had several. Luckily, a couple months in between, but you had some serious stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, for if it, it's been, I think in the soap world in general, it's just been a really rough couple of years. GH has had rough couple of years losing its matriarchs, and on days where we've lost our leading men 3 years in a row. And
Yes,
so it's,
yes,
we started with, with John Aniston, and then we
yes.
had Bill Hay, our beloved Bill
Uh,
Hayes, and then And then Drake in September, which that one was a shocker for all of us. Really kind of, it still leaves us a little shell shocked. So in terms of deaths, you know, I think how we talk about it on the show is different necessarily from when we are talking face to face. We're lucky enough to get a guest, or when we're on the red carpet, because you kind of have to put on a different hat, and I think keep it lighter with people at Day of Days, so we were especially this past year when we were at Day of Days, I think we really had to walk that fine line, because we knew that we were getting content. That day we were going to get content, and I spoke with Susan Seaforth Hayes that day, and with she had Billy Flynn by her side, and so I knew I had to watch my P's and Q's and really be well prepared for my interview with her, because even though it had been technically almost a year since her husband had passed, that was her real life husband,
right?
Not just her husband on the show. That was her actual husband for almost 50 years. So that's a different kind of burden that I take on, and really just being very mindful of everything I'm about to say. Whereas on the show, when we're just the four of us together, I can be a little more emotional in terms of what it means to me.
Good point.
But then I was we were doubly kind of stressed out, because Drake had just passed, and we knew that they were in the middle of filming that. So it was all that. So last year's Day of Days, I'm not gonna lie, was pretty stressful in terms of that. But yeah, to answer your question, we kind of put on a different filter in terms of how we talk about it amongst each other, because it's, you know, we're hosts, but we're also fans, so it's like a chit chat amongst fans versus talking to the actual people, or this is their coworker, this is their friend. Really be respectful that, you know, they are going through a real life loss.
That's a good point, Araceli. What a good point. I met Linda Gray, and I do a Dallas after show, and I said in the TNT version of Dallas, when I came back, when Larry Hagman died in real life, to me the best episode they ever did was JR's funerals episode. And I asked her, guys, because her and Patrick Duffy and they were friends off camera. And so I know it was writing. However, comma, as Tony says, Laura says, it felt so real. And I asked her, I said, what was the line? She goes, well, you know, I'm an actress. And she goes, but she's like, I cried several times before we started. And they missed Larry Hagman that much. It's like, damn, like, it's crazy. Because you're right, Araceli, it's not just, we're like fans. We're like, we may have met them. I've interviewed Drake. I love Drake. I interviewed him. It was a great interview. I know Susan and Bill. I interviewed them both. I love them. But it's like, these were their it's like, it'd be like one of your co-hosts, like one of your co-hosts, one of us going. That's tough. Please go ahead, Vinnie, please.
No, I was going to say, I got to ask John Lindstrom, because I was also for a time a co-host on Take Two Radio, and
that's right.
I got to part of being part of an interview with John Lindstrom, and I asked him, I said, how is it when you lose one of your castmates in real life, and then months later you have to do the on-screen memorial for the character? Is that like losing them all over again? You know, and he was like, it is, because you're mourning the person again, and it's cathartic, you know, because it's the real emotions from the actors who have been with this person for years on end, and it was a shock to lose them in real life, and then doing it on screen. Those are the real emotions. Those aren't, for example, it's not Kevin Collins in that seat,
right,
listening to, the eulogy for Bobby Spencer. It's literally John Lindstrom sitting there listening to somebody talk about Jackie Zeman and how, she affected their life.
I don't know how Susan Seaforth Hayes got through it. I watched those that whole week, and I don't know how she did it. I mean, she's obviously a great actress. I don't know how she did it.
She, in that particular case, I know that she was just immediately enveloped by the cast. It was told to us that not a day went by on the set where people weren't checking in on her, where Deidre wasn't checking in on her. And now kind of the tables are turned where Susan kind of is doing that for Deidre because, that was her on-screen husband for 40 years.
Yeah.
So it's been a tough couple of years.
I know, yeah, I know. Amanda, we do show, we've cried together on shows and stuff. We talked about stuff. I get you crying or you get me crying or whatever. So how is it for you? I mean, it's kind of hard. Like we know we gotta talk about it, like the show, what's going on. We gotta talk about it. What are your thoughts?
I know, and I'm a crybaby anyway. I can't help myself. And if James starts, then I'm gonna start. It's just like a chain reaction.
Tammy's the one who does it. She holds it together. She holds it together.
Of course she does.
Yeah.
She keeps it all together and straight.
She does. And we're just blubbering over here. Yes.
I don't censor myself per se, but I do pay more attention to the way that I say things. And I also sometimes I have a potty mouth. and it just slips out and I'm like, oops. Sorry
Sunday morning. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I don't feel like I censor myself. I do. I mean, I don't want to purposely hurt anyone, so I do pay attention to how I say things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. So for me, I'm like, I just say it all. I don't care. Well, come get me. Come get me. I don't care. They've got me before. I love it. But no, it's like I said, when real life collide, it's tough. It's tough. And it just means the actors are really good at what they do. I mean, it means they're really good at what they do. Good thoughts, everybody. Good thoughts. Here's a question I asked people last time, and the chat said something. So on the shows that you watch, and I'll start first. What actor or I'll say what actor. We'll say you can pick one actor on any of the shows that you watch that you feel it was we call a national treasure. She protected at all costs. For me, it's Jane Elliott as Tracy Quartermaine on GH. She is an asset to every scene. She can go from silly to evil in 2.4 seconds. You feel for her, then you're angry with her. That actress is so good. I mean, I'm so glad he brought her back and they're using her correctly. I saw today's episode. She was hilarious. To me, she's a national treasure and she's protected at all costs. So anybody wants to go next? Who is on one of the shows you watch is a national treasure and she's protected at all costs?
You have to pick one?
Yes.
It's too hard.
All you get is one. This is life. This is how life is not black and white. It is black and white. Just one.
Okay, well then you know mine. You already know. Mine is KKL. KKL.
So yes.
KKL is an angel. I've met her multiple times and she floats into the room like an angel.
She does.
And she giggles like an angel. Yes, she's so sweet. She's just I met her and she's like, here, come here, sit down. And I'm like, no, you sit down. You got a hurt foot. Remember when she hurt her foot?
Yes,
she was like, sit down. I'm like, no, you sit down. You got a hurt foot. Larry, she's just adorable. And they give her crap all the time. And she just makes it work.
I told her when I first met her years ago, because we're friends also, and everything Amanda said, she is the bomb diggity. I said, you spin shit in gold every day. And she laughed so hard. She couldn't comment. She couldn't comment. I said, that's okay. You don't have to comment, girl. But she laughed knowingly what I said. I said, you for 38 years. She's only she's only one of two original cast members of Bold and Beautiful. But on this, she's the queen. But she literally, the chat, tell me who you think it should be. Tell me in chat too. She is just the bomb, but she spins shit to gold. And the fans.
And she's so sweet.
She's so nice. So I agree with you on that one. I agree there. Araceli Aviles.
It's hard.
So actor, right?
Yeah.
Actor. Okay. So my Days fans are gonna be mad at me, but I'm gonna go with somebody from General Hospital.
Okay.
Rebecca Herbst.
We love her. Oh my God, love her.
Rebecca Herbst, because that people don't realize she's been on for over 25 years
Yeah.
on that show. She was a baby when she
Yes.
started on that show.
Yes.
And I was not a Liz fan.
Oh
There
my
was
goodness.
there was a good 10 years where I was, oh, I called her every name in the book. Yes, I was just like, I was like, tear her down, tear her to shreds. But she
Yes.
played it so well.
Yep.
She played it so well, and given the time and the dedication that she has put into that role, I said it online this week that she turned that character around and became a grown ass woman, and she's one of the core legacy characters on that show now.
Candice Beck says, I did too. Screamed for years too. So I brought up Carla Mosley. I know Carla Mosley.
Yes.
She's great. Beyond Guiding Light.
That is my other one, but
yes.
I was sticking to the soaps that we cover.
Yeah, I know. I don't say that. Those are good. You answered the question right. I called her. Candice said I called her Lizzie Tizzy. I couldn't stand her for a while. David said I love Becky from the beginning. Yeah, okay. No, Becky, she doesn't age. The chick doesn't age. Her porcelain skin does not age. They said that she's like 75 years old in real life. I'm just kidding. I don't know. But she was good. She was great. So, hey, Vinny, who is your national treasure and should be protected at all costs?
All right. So you stole mine of Jane Elliott.
I know.
I have to. I'm gonna go with Christos Andros from the Bay.
Okay. I think he's like a 7-time Emmy winner from there or something at this point.
And the reason why I say that is no matter what he's used, whatever he's gotten in the story, and I know he's one of the executive producers, and I know he's, like one of the big wigs of the show.
Yeah.
But just watching from the beginning until where we're at, and just ending season 5, let alone forward, he's been through everything in the series. I feel like he's unknown relatively compared to the other soap characters, but he could easily be a leading man on any of the soaps that are currently on the air, because he's just so damn good. So I would probably go ahead and choose him.
Candace says Christos, love him. He has grown on the Bay.
Yes.
Donald People says, I remember Elizabeth's debut during the summer of 1997. She's almost 30 years on the show.
Yeah.
Rebecca Hurst had it from the start. Vinny, wait till next season of the Bay. For me, when it comes to Becky Hurst, I'll never forget the rape. And her climbing out of the bushes and young Lucky finding her. And then that juxtaposing to the whole finding out that his father raped his mother. All those scenes were just everybody did such phenomenal. And think about it, her and Jonathan, get back to Jonathan Jackson, they were kids. They were teenagers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They had amazing acting. It was just like, we don't have that anymore. You're right. We don't have that anymore. No, we don't have that anymore. We don't. Or maybe it's out there. Or maybe it's out there. We don't have them writing for it. What are you gonna say, Araceli? Tell me. What are you gonna say?
2 words: chemistry test.
Yeah.
Do not skip it.
I agree.
Right. You're right. I like those 2 words. Because you're right. They had it from the beginning. John and Jeff, they had it from the beginning. I mean, that just was it. I agree with that. Those are all 3 good choices. Those are good choices. Yes. Like I said, Christos is one of the most winning actors and Emmy history.
Yeah.
But he's not known in the big universe. I don't know what that's about. But I say something about Nadia Bjorlin, who I think is just the most beautiful woman on earth. Who can sing,
yes.
Who can sing.
She is
operate,
gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Why is she not huge?
Why is she not? Yeah. Exactly.
Her eyes are amazing.
Her eyes, yes. And I know her. And and in person, she's even just as beautiful and nice and funny and just like. And I've said it here for years. Like, why aren't you? I mean, why is don't get me started on that. I don't get started. They said, okay, maybe they're not willing to pay the good young actors, and they do other shows. Well, I mean, there's good young actors on other streaming service programs. There's a show right now. I'm going to just a little crossover real quick. I just started. It's called Adolescence. If you have not,
Oh my gosh.
everybody's talking about. I was saying, everybody's talking about it. That kid is good. I'm like, that show is crazy, cuckoo crazy with Cocoa Puffs.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's we could do a whole other show just recapping the press that they did for that show.
Yes. I'm just saying, so check out Adolescence, folks, if you want something crazy that's like, I mean, and now, yeah, anyway, so there's good actors out there. There's good actors out there. Also, I'm a Stranger Things fan, so there's good young actors out there. Tamara Braun. Well, I love Tamara. Great actress. Controversial. She should have not. I don't think she's controversial. She never should have stopped playing Carly on GH. Oh, how funny! Well, there you go. Kat was to jump on Araceli and says, and because her two words were chemistry test. Give me back to that. And don't have the actors force their chemistry. If they have it, that's great. It's like the bouncing ball. But if they don't try to force it. Fans will know.
Fans
Yes.
absolutely no.
Yep. Who knows?
You know who had good chemistry?
Who? Tell us. Who?
Josh and Reva. Kim Zimmer
Oh, yeah.
and Robert Newman. They had good chemistry. It was like popped off the screen.
Yes. Yeah, great chemistry. For me, of course, it was Holden and Lily on As the World Turns. He jumped out the haystack, and she was there, and that was it. I was that famous scene. That was it.
I will the hill that I will die on is that if two actors have good chemistry, it can erase almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It can erase almost anything. On days we had Sierra and Ben, who have probably the best chemistry of the last 20 years. And people kind of erase the fact that he was a serial killer.
Right.
Completely erased it. On Guiding Light, guys, the pivotal one was Guiding Light was Tammy and Jonathan.
Yes.
Their chemistry was so freaking off the charts. Completely erased the fact that they were half cousins.
They're half cousins.
Yes.
After a while, nobody cared.
It was same thing. Roger Thorpe.
Talk about that. We don't talk about that.
You don't talk about that. And Roger Thorpe and Holly. I mean, it was like he raped her. And Luke and Laura.
Luke and Laura.
I was there. And I was
there.
I was there for all of it. It's crazy now. It would not work today, but I was there for all of it.
Yeah, that might be the exception of what wouldn't work today, but almost everything else, good chemistry can erase.
I agree. That's why it's so hard watching this Drew and Willow stuff on GH. Oh,
I'm loving it.
Well, I mean, it's good drama. I say you need Drew. You need Drew on the show. I'm waiting for them to shoot him, folks. You know what's going to happen. Wait, who shot Drew?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you know. Also, he doesn't think so. Everybody else in the world thinks so.
For it.
But he doesn't think so.
I don't.
Oh yeah.
I think Drew's here to stay.
I'm not saying kill him. Just shoot him. Shoot him.
Oh,
no, don't kill him. Just hurt him real bad.
Yeah, I'm going to kill him. I don't think they're going to kill him.
I am loving the Drew character. Like, he is a villain, and Cameron Matheson is owning it.
He is.
I'm loving it. And I know that gets a lot of hate online, but I also love Peter August too. So
don't get me started on that. This is my network. His name is not mentioned on this network. So yes, you already know that already. Of course, you know how I feel about that. But no, I'll give you Drew because you need somebody. You need a heel, right?
Yeah.
On the show. Just I never had no use for Willow, so that was another story. But it makes me go because you're supposed to feel that way. But I'm not saying I'm time stamping it on here. Not saying they're going to kill Drew, but it's a who shot is coming. Something's coming, or stab, or something's coming up.
Stab. Could be a stab. Might be a little stab.
Something's
just a little stick.
Yeah, so Drew should get this one way. Yeah, he has to get a comeuppance at some point. I mean, they go for so long. They did to Nell. They just all the villains. They get it at some point. So, but I don't think they're gonna kill him. I think that they're gonna keep him on the show. But I think they're gonna do something to him on there. Mm-hmm.
So is Willow the one that just lost custody?
Yes.
Did she deserve to lose custody?
Yes.
Are y'all happy about that?
Oh, yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
However, comma, the actress did a phenomenal job.
Oh yeah.
Woo!
Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
This is the most interesting that Katie McMullen has been on TH.
Yes.
I think ever. I mean, when
Yes.
she was fighting cancer a couple years ago, I was like, when is she gonna die?
Yes. Now, but let me be clear about something. I as the leading Elizabeth Weber critic for a good decade, where I was ranting and raving and telling anybody who would listen that I did not like her character. I would call her every name in the book. I will admit, never once did I wish for that character to lose her children.
Interesting. Oh, that's okay.
This character absolutely deserves it.
The chat
You're like, take him away.
The chat is divided on Drew. They really are divided on Drew. It's so funny. But he's supposed to, I mean, you need somebody bad. That's the whole point.
You're supposed to hate him.
Yeah, you're supposed to hate him.
Well, here's the and we can maybe
we're so
pivot this to like the subject of villains. I think there's the villain that you love to hate, and then there's the villain you hate.
Hate.
You just hate.
Yeah, it's true.
True.
Even wrestling's like that.
Yeah.
Yes, and so like on days, like Stefano Demera is iconic.
Yes.
He is the premier. He's the phoenix. He rises from the ashes, until he didn't. And then he was, we loved to hate him. And then we have Clyde Weston.
Ooh, yeah.
And we're like, why is he?
Orpheus. Oh, goodbye. Oh, you does it all at all.
But like even Orpheus has a history. That's the thing. You can even and it's not like if he were on a regular basis, I think I would be like, ugh.
You're right. No, you're right. It's
the eye of the beholder.
It was the same as J.R. Ewing. Everybody loved Hating. He did all these horrible. He loved Hating.
Yes, we loved Hating.
Or Alexis on Dynasty, or Amanda on Melrose Place. You love to see.
Well, I'm like that with Sheila.
Oh yeah, Sheila.
With Sheila, I love Sheila, and she's horrible. Every podcast, my sister goes, "Why do we like her? She's horrible. We're not supposed to like her."
And entering into on Beyond the Gates, Leslie has gotten there.
And we love Leslie. I love her,
but she's a heel.
Yes.
It's great. There's a term in the wrestling universe called "go away heat," and again, it's somebody that is so bad of a performer that you just want them to go away. And again, that's the eye of the beholder. So, there was once a term called X-Pac heat, where Sean Waltman was, literally nobody wanted him around. But that again, I'm a huge Sean Waltman fan, so I can't cop to that. But seriously, it's in the eye of the beholder. If you literally can't stand a character, you don't want them on your screen. Mm-hmm. But you also have to understand that they're playing the part because you're supposed to hate them.
Yeah.
Right. If you hate them, they're good. They're doing their job, right?
And then there are a few times where you just hate the character and the actor. Sorry, kids. We'll go on to the next story, and we're going to the next. That's a good one to you guys. That's a good one.
That is a good one. I already know my answer.
What was your answer?
Taylor. Faux Taylor.
Oh yeah, Taylor. Faux Taylor. To me, she'll always be Greenlee on All My Children.
Yeah.
Or even Michelle on Guiding Light, or even Hayden on GH. I mean, she's not Taylor. I'm sorry.
I love the actress, but she's not Taylor. It's not working.
I agree.
Did you see that she's going to be starting a new podcast?
I saw that. I have my own thoughts about that too, but I'm not going to share them tonight. But yes, they have her and Greg Rickard have a podcast. They're starting called Soapy, but that's another story.
Really?
Yeah, it's just really interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I said. I've been talking to some of the other soap hosts about that. Team Alexis for life, or Alexis. Zach and Kid on AMC. I like hanging though. Lisa Minshew just followed me on Instagram today. I love it. Hi, Brandon Larkins. I love Ava as a villain at
Hi,
times.
Brandon.
Yeah, Ava's gonna be, well, to me, Mara West can do no wrong, so that's just another.
Well, which Ava?
Yeah.
Ava, because Tamara Braun's a villain somewhat.
Right. Well, they're mentioning. I think they're mentioning GH.
Okay.
GH.
Well, yeah.
But I love Tamara. I love Tamara Braun. I'm a fan of. Yeah, she's a great. All the shows she's been on, she's great. But of course, I have to be very transparent. I'm friends with Sarah Joy Brown. That Carly will always be. I mean, just
iconic.
Yeah, I mean, that's to say. And I love Laura Wright. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, Laura Wright has the best hair in daytime. Don't give me that story. But Sarah Joy Brown, that early Carly, God bless them. Man, talk about marriage between actor and character. It just worked. It just worked. Maura West, I love her, but sigh, YNR. We don't mention her stint on YNR. We don't mention that.
We don't.
Yeah, so I think it's just one of those things. Araceli, I want to ask you this too. Because you do a day show, but you watch GH. That's why I brought you up, because I've seen your comments online. I see your GH comments. That's why I called her. It's like, she does GH, so I can call her because she does GH too. Well, I'm gonna ask you this. Right now, currently, if you had to rank the two shows, which one is one and which one's two for you? Right now, like right. They can change it every week. Like right now, which one's which?
I think in term, you know what? I feel weird about that, only because I said this on days. We seem to be in a bit of a transition period right now.
Okay.
Because on days we have a new writing staff, and we just hit milestone after milestone after milestone. Just in the last 2 weeks, we had John's memorial, we had Bo and Hope's 40th anniversary, we had Stephen Nichols' 40th anniversary. So there were half of the weeks, the last few weeks contest, it was flashbacks, just flashbacks from like the 80s.
Okay.
It was a lot. So it's hard for me to kind of rank that, when that was pretty stellar material that they were trying to work with, this anniversary material. And then we're bringing back the vets, and then there are some vets that are going to be staying, like Anna and Tony. Whereas on GH, I feel like that's also kind of going through a little bit of a transition period as well, because they have new writers there as well. You have Brian Kwan went from days to General Hospital. And I talked to Riot about this a couple weeks ago. And they had the recent recast, Rory Gibson as Michael, who's phenomenal.
Yes.
One of the best recasts that show has ever done. And again, nothing against Chandler, because he held that role for 14 years. So that's nothing to sneeze at.
No.
But it's like I'm firm in like giving people a chance to go through their transition periods, and so I think both shows are kind of going through that for different reasons.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna rank mine. I know I have no shame. I'm shady. So right now, for the last couple of weeks, for me, not counting days, because I don't really talk much about days. Now I agree, days is a whole separate thing right now. So for me right now, it's GH, then Beyond the Gates, then YNR, then Bold. Those are the ones I talk about the most. YNR, they've had some. Right now they have the Billy Flynn coming on the Hall. I'm still like Aristotle Dumas. If I say that name, cry myself to sleep. Oh, that
every time they say it, take a shot.
That's like 5 months of Aristotle Dumas. That name, I never want to hear that name for the rest of my life.
5 months?
Yes.
It's going forever. It's going forever. They announced Billy
and they can't just say his first name.
No,
they can't call him Mr. Dumont. Nope. Every time they have to say the whole name. Every time.
Aristotle Dumas. That's what a joke for everybody who watches Why Not knows what I'm talking about. So I did a whole I did a video short that has like I think 5,000 views. I was going, I don't care what his name is, Aristotle, Adrian, whatever. I'm tired of that name, and people love it. They love it. So, but for me, Beyond the Gates, folks, I think it's really, you guys should be watching. It's really good. Days, Candace is Days first, GH second, because Days has had good material outside the milestones, she claims. And
Recently,
GH,
yes.
yeah, and she goes, and GH is finally remembering they are a soap opera with the Michael. Suds. What can you rank the Suds? You watch the Bear. You watch like right now. What is grabbing your attention? Any kind of ranking?
I'm gonna leave the Bay out of it because I don't watch the current season of the Bay.
Okay.
We're doing, ours is almost like a rewatch because we're only in season 5 or into 6. But I have to say that I really think GH is number 1 and Beyond the Gates is number 2. They're very close.
Yeah,
but close. Beyond the Gates is settling into their groove. The first 3 months they were hot. They popped the territory, as they would say in wrestling. But now they're starting to settle down. Their stories are kind of slowing down a little bit. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do for July sweeps with Martin's Secret coming out and the pieces that are coming out. I feel like the pacing is fantastic.
I agree.
With General Hospital, Angela and I have been talking about it ever since the writing team was solidified when Chris Van Etten joined Elizabeth Corte as the co-head writers, and they've been nonstop on fire ever since late summer. Just on top of it. And we were just talking about it that ever since May sweeps, they haven't stopped.
Yeah.
They just haven't.
They haven't.
It's must-see TV. That for me, I get home from work and I'm watching it because, I'm watching it on DVR so I can fast forward the commercials.
Me too.
It's just absolutely fantastic. The stories are great. Rory Gibson was a fantastic addition as Michael, and I love Chad Duell, but I think that the new Michael is able to get darker than Chad ever was, and we saw that today. I like seeing the chemistry between all the characters. I feel like Rory Gibson has chemistry with everybody.
Yep.
Yes.
On the canvas. Just whether it's Mother and Carly or Jason, who's his adoptive father, so to speak.
Yep.
Leaving Sonny to the side. But even with the Quartermains, and then the scene with Tracy today, the way that Tracy and has been both Edward and Lila at once in separate scenes. Jane Elliott's been fantastic. I'm very, I am enjoying the work all over the place. The nurses' ball was great. The way that Michael just walked in and Wiley said, "Hey, Dad," and just ran up to him and, just took off. The drama with Drew and Willow and everything. GH has been just spot on.
The nurses' ball, it's supposed to be cheesy, folks. That's the whole point. It's a mixture of cheese and drama. And for me, yes, I mean, my co-host Frank, I love him. 10 years we've been doing this together. He hates nurses' ball, but he gets it. He gets that it's a tradition. I love traditions, and it's a tradition. And it's supposed to have the cheese factor, but there's always something good dramatically. And the whole Geo thing was good. So.
That's fantastic.
I'm still putting it into the ether. I want the Miz to host the nurses' ball next year.
The Miz. They won't do it. They always do ABC people. It's like anything ABC, ABC Disney. That's pretty funny. I like that. I actually know who the Miz is. Because I watch Real World, right? So I know who the Miz is.
Hey, he's going to be doing American Gladiators now. So
is he really? They bring that back?
Yeah, on Amazon Prime.
How funny is that? I remember it was a long time ago. I used to watching that, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, the scene between Michael and Curtis was good. Rory has demonstrated chemistry with everyone. He does. Lovely Flame is Kane. So yeah, we're gonna call him Kane now. No more Aristotle. It's Kane.
Yeah. Good. No, but that's actually a good point that you brought up, Vinny. That chemistry is not just between couples. It needs to be between different characters. You need to feel like if this person is your father figure, you need to feel that. Like we had that on Days with Dad for your girl who just that man he was a recast, and he has chemistry with
Oh,
everyone.
oh.
Everyone, right down to like the 2 minute, rant that his daughter-in-law gave him last week. And I was like, I believe it.
I'm stuttering now. A few years ago at the Emmys, they were like, "You went Dan Furigo." I'm like, personally, professionally. And they brought him over, and he's like, I'm 6 feet tall. He's like 6'3" or whatever. And I was a huge fan of his first show that showed all parts of his body. It came on Friday nights on Stars. If you guys know what I'm talking about. And I loved that show very much and everything I saw on him. But I met him.
Not on him.
Yeah. So, when I met him, I was like, I know we're talking about Days of Our Lives, but I love Jenny. And we talked about it. We actually talked about it. He had a fun time talking about it. But I couldn't stop staring at him. I'm just like, and I'm a big guy. I felt small next to him. I was like, yes, tell me more. He was dreamy. That's the word. He was dreamy. So I'm not surprised. He's also Australian, so of course the Australians are dreamy. So I'm not surprised that on Days of Our Lives, because I agree with you, he has chemistry with everyone. I like him with Belle. I like him with Sammy. I like him with everybody. But you're right. He has chemistry even with like Kate. He has chemistry with everybody he's with. Anyway. So anyway, but I'm a damn Furigo fan. Just want to make sure I say that, of course.
He's cool to hang out with.
Hey, he'd be cool there. Yeah, Don said Dan Furigo made EJ his own. He totally did. Okay, Amanda, I forgot what was the question I asked like.
By the way, Brandon said that Mara West. He said Mara West, and then he said because he worked with her. I was like, okay.
I know, but we know you're on GH for a minute.
Okay, we know.
We totally get it. We totally you're on GH. We totally get it.
We saw you on there.
We saw you on TV. But yeah, the ranking. So because you're watching the two soaps with us, of course, you know little bits of the other ones, but I can almost guess what your number one would be and number two would be, obviously, right?
Well, okay. I wish I could watch all of them. Yeah. I do. I really do. I run out of time because I watch Days with my grandma. So I know the characters from Days, like when I was younger. So I know the older characters and the ones that have been on there longer. But right now I only watch Bold and YNR. And then I read about GH just because y'all drive me crazy always talking about it. And I don't know what y'all are talking about. Like I had to watch the scene where she lost her kids in the court and she was like freaking out. Yeah, I had to watch that. I think
Tammy watches GH too. Tammy watches GH also. Sorry, go ahead.
I think YNR.
Yeah, that's better.
But it's only because Bold seems Bold. I love Bold, but they seem confused a little. Like they seem like they were gonna go one way, and then all of a sudden they changed their mind, and now they're going a different way. And so all the stories are like not what you expect. Like they're kind of like jumbled. Like I think some people might be leaving. I know at least one person, it's rumored that she's leaving. Right. So then her story had to change, right? Because now she's leaving. And then Jackie's going on maternity leave.
Her fifth child.
So, yeah. So I feel like it's confused right now.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. Very confused.
Yeah. Amanda, you know what it is? Trajectory matters.
Yeah.
Having a plan, even if you're a show that only writes like 6 to 8 weeks in advance, you have to have a forward moving plan.
Right.
And it's very clear when you don't.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
You have to have a show Bible. That's what it boils down to. And I'm going to go back to wrestling. Eric Bischoff, who used to run WCW, basically has said that you need to have that, your major stories, and you have to have your A story, B story, C story, and D story, so that as you cycle through them, the A story is going to hit now, but then you have the B story heating up so that your next sweeps or your next big event that's going to hit. And you just cycle through them. And that's what you have to have so that you have those milestone points in each story as they get to where they have to be. And I think that's what GH is doing right at this point, is having that show Bible. Yeah, it got screwed up when Jonathan Jackson decided to leave because he was unhappy with the stories and he was unhappy with having to go back and forth between Nashville and LA. But it happens, but they're able to pivot and they're able to change what they need to do. And as long as you have that strong story aspect of what's going on, you're able to make those pivots at times.
And ground it in a sense of realism, because the way that they wrote him out made perfect sense for the character.
Yes.
I have more thoughts about that too, but never mind. I'm not going to
Yeah.
How they ruined
that in itself is a whole other thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's all his other show. They ruined his whole thing. So it is not his fault. It is GH's fault that they didn't write a good story for a 5-time Emmy-winning actor who is a legacy character. That is, he would have stayed. It would have traveled if they wrote him a good story, and they didn't. That's my opinion, of course, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. And one little quick thing about Bold. For a while there, Bold was my number one show for a while. Like for a while, it was on fire. Like Amanda said, it was on fire. Bold is one of those shows that does bold choices.
They do.
I know. Everything from the mannequin that came to life to certain sweeping shots of Monte Carlo. Like they'll do stuff. They'll go there. There's times where they will totally go there.
Yeah, they'll surprise you.
They'll surprise you. You're like, what?
Yeah.
And then they'll seriously go there. You're right. They haven't in a while. They're stale right now. Right now, they're kind of stale. I want to first say thanks to the almost 50 people watching us tonight. Night. I appreciate every person who's watching us. I appreciate that. I think that's spend time with us during the week. I love that. Make sure you follow these folks' shows after this, okay, bitches. Okay. They love Andrea Paul's wedding. I did host the event with them, with Special Celebrity Events, and we had a great time. It was so much fun. I know Colton. I've known him for about 3 years, and I've known Christopher Sean for 10. He was my first guest. We talked about it in the chat there. He was my first guest ever on a show on AfterBuzz TV. It was Christopher Sean and Hira Ambrosino, who played his mother. And they both could have been more grace. I was nervous. Imagine me nervous. I was nervous. And that was my first on-screen interview ever. So I was part of it. So we love Christopher and them. And the wedding, again, I love seeing we do have a gay couple that they have done it right. I like this gay couple. I believe them. I love it. And I'm looking forward to hopefully Lucas and this Marco guy on GH. I'm liking their chemistry. I'm hoping they do them right. Also, I hope they do them right. But I want to ask one last question. I want to keep you guys forever. It's almost been an hour and a half. I want to thank you guys for your time, of course, for coming on here and doing this. You guys will have to. Well, Amanda, you have to come back. Amanda, just kidding. But Araceli and Sudge, you guys have to come back at some point. Especially you, Araceli. You guys come to the show with me and Frank. We do it before your show. One day if you're ever open. I like your takes. I think the fans should hear your takes on one of our shows.
We'll make it work. Yeah.
We'll make it work. Okay. I know you're busy and you're an auntie and you got all this stuff going on, but
yeah.
But when we do it in advance where you know when to come on, you're welcome anytime. But I would love to have. I think the fans should hear your takes. So the last question. This is the last question. This is a good one. So you are currently host of a soap podcast, but you are also fans. You kind of alluded to it earlier. Has being a soap host changed your outlook as a fan? That's the last question I want to ask each of you guys. There's some discussion of that. For me, it has a little bit because now I know the behind the scenes stuff. I kind of know how these things run. I do view my soaps less crazy than I used to. That way. I was very fanatic about certain things. I'll admit it. When I was younger, watching certain soaps. Now I see how they run, and I kind of see what's going on. I met the actors. It has changed my thought in some ways on how I view the show. So I'm just curious, has it changed any way you think as you watch the show? I know we watch the shows differently than most folks because we're actually trying to remember everything too. I'm not counting that. I'm just meaning, has it changed your outlook on the show? And Anybody can start. I don't know who wants to start. Anybody? Any thoughts?
I'll start. I'm
Okay.
going to say it has changed, but it hasn't. And the reason why I say that is, yes, I'm starting to learn more about the behind the scenes workings of General Hospital and the soaps in general. But it's almost like when I found out wrestling was predetermined. You know,
It
I
is.
will never use the F word.
I just got to
Um,
I'm
but
like
Don't
predetermined. It is.
ever,
It's crazy.
ever use the F word.
I
I agree with
I know
you.
that F word.
Do
I know
not.
that.
Because
um,
every time someone does, they get knocked out for
yes,
real. Do they
exactly.
not?
But when I learned that wrestling was predetermined and I found out about, contracts and everything, watching GH, I try to keep it in the lens of being a fan. I get excited for the stories. Yeah, I know who's going to be leaving. I know some of the time people are going to be coming. But even now, they're trying to plug up the leaks. So you don't get that kind of behind the scenes. I mean, we announced on our show that, they were trying to keep Jonathan Jackson until February. And then come to find out, oh, next week's are his last scenes. Well, we got old news.
Yes.
And we got crucified for it. But it's but we got it from somebody else. So I mean, we had that crutch to it. But the thing is, I still watch it as a fan, and I give my takes as a fan. Because I enjoy the show, I enjoy the stories. I'm excited for the stories, and I don't mind spoilers, but I like to see how they're going to get to that point. I know who's coming back. I want to see the story they're writing to get to that point.
Like that. Amanda.
I think yes. I'm gonna say yes. I agree with you. I think it has because I used to watch the soaps very leisurely.
Oh. Okay.
And now it's more of a job. Not in a bad way necessarily, but now it's I have a show Sunday, so you gotta watch the soaps, right? Like so a little bit. And then going some of the things that I've gotten to do, like going to the studio and seeing the actual sets and everything. And like, I feel like I have a lot more patience and understanding because these are not, these sets are tiny, guys.
They are.
Like on Bold, the sets are so tiny.
Yes.
Like Deacon's apartment, for instance.
Yeah.
Like 3 people, 4 people is the max that you could put in there because it is so tiny. It's like one little corner.
Mhm.
It's not even a full room or anything. It's just like one little corner. So like, yeah, it made me think, you know what? I'm gonna have more patience and give them more slack because this is not an easy thing they're doing. Like they're making this look so real and they're in a shoebox in some of them. Right. So I'm like this, I thought it was really cool though, but it did change a little bit my perspective. Also how hard the job is that the actors are doing. And like on Bold, they told me they have like 2 takes and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And they really don't want to do 2. They want to do 1. So like they will give you 2, but that is all you're getting. So when you go in there, you better be ready to work. So yeah, it did change my perspective a little, I think.
Very good. Araceli Aviles.
Does my perspective, the question was, does my perspective as a soap host differ from my previous perspective as a soap fan? No. No, because I think because I grew up in this town. I know I already had the background and experience of being a fan, growing up an avid reader. So I know what a Bible is. I know what the Bible is. I know
Yes.
if you
Right.
follow me, you know me.
I grew up here too, so I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I know I grew up in this town. I've been to local theater, I've been to the big theater. I've been behind the scenes. I've worked the 12 to 15 hour midnight shift of an indie film. I've worked in those trenches. I've worked red carpets, big ones, small ones, round tables. So my perspective has always been just to go in respectful of people's time and the work that people are being able to put in, whether you're a part of the industry or you're not, whether you're a host or a fan, just go in with respect. And if you're not, then you don't need to be here.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Sometimes people are quite mean. And I will not interact with anyone who, if you're not talking to me nice or you're not talking to me the way I would talk to you, then I just don't interact. I don't answer. I just don't interact.
Yeah.
Because I agree, like sometimes people get so angry. And I'll put like you have to remember this is a show. This is not real. This is not their real life, okay? Like I think sometimes people are so into it that they forget that little thing and then they go after the actors and that bothers me.
Oh
I
yeah, no,
don't
that
like
crosses
that.
a line.
Yeah, I think social media has brought a whole new level of toxicity to fandoms. But that's a whole conversation for another night.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, that's what the block button is for.
Right. Exactly.
Yes, that's a whole other thing.
That's what they put it there for, huh?
Yeah. It's I would say I'm like, all right, so I grew up here. I had friends who were in the business, of course, growing up and stuff. So it wasn't complete, but I know for me though, I never thought I'd ever be a host of a soap. I mean, is there a soap show that wasn't even they didn't have that kind of thing growing up, like for any of us, like it wasn't we grew up that way. So we're literally doing something that was just invented like a few years ago. And I was part of a network that invented them actually at Press TV. And so it's kind of funny to do this because I never thought interviewing is one thing. That's so it's very Barbara Walters and all that stuff. The interview is one thing. But I never thought I'd be seeing and talking about something I've watched for like 30, 40 years. I just never thought I'd do that. And I know that I have to watch it differently because we have to remember what's going on, plus I'm the moderator and I gotta make sure I get the right stuff. So I do watch it slightly differently, but I will say now that I know a little more, it has softened me to just my opinions. I mean, I still have strong opinions, clearly, but it has softened me in some ways. Like, you know what? I see why they're doing this. I did before. I couldn't see nothing. I was like, why are you doing that? But now I'm like, well, you have to have conflicts. You need. It's like I feel more mature. Not that mature, folks.
Yeah.
Although it's a little more mature than I was before. And I think that's what changes. But yeah, I grew up in LA. I mean, you can step on somebody who works in the business. I mean, it's just kind of like that's like.
Well, I never thought I would be here. I'm a girl from Mississippi, so no, I've never been to a studio before. That was my first time going to a studio, so that was very exciting.
I'll say for you and Vinny, you guys aren't from LA. You guys aren't here. We're here. We have that.
I'm in Connecticut, so I'm as far away from LA as possible.
Right.
But you know what? It does bring up the fact that I didn't grow up in the LA area. So, I'm out here and I mean, James, you could tell the conversations we've had. You've tried to get me to do some stuff for the audio dramas. I'm like, yeah, well, there's a 3-hour time difference. I have to be at work at 5 a.m. I have to be up at 3 a.m. So your 7 o'clock is my 10 o'clock. I'm already in bed, at my 7 o'clock. So I can't, it's hard for me to do it. And I think what helps me stay in the fan, watching it as a fan, is that I really haven't interacted with too many of the actors. I've done the interviews, I've done, stuff virtually, but I really haven't met the actors, and I'm just starting to kind of get into that sphere. I went in April to, I went in April to a fan event for, Laura Wright, um, Finola Hughes, and it was supposed to be Charles Measure, but they put in James Patrick Stewart at the, once that situation took place.
Yes.
And I was able to present Laura Wright with a Lifetime Achievement Championship belt. The pictures are all over social media, and it was great. But that was the first time that I really got a chance to really interact as a podcaster, presenting something to one of the actors that we watch it, daily. In September, I'm going to the Samantha's Friends event. I was invited by Alice, and I'm sitting with Gregory Martin. So I'm starting to kind of get into that sphere of, almost that imposter syndrome. And am I really getting to do that? But I'm just getting there. I'm the baby when it comes to soap podcasting, because I really, it's only been like 3 years for me. I've been doing wrestling for a lot longer.
Yeah.
But coming into being a soap podcaster now, now I'm finally starting to see it from that other side.
That's why I have you guys. That's why I'm doing these shows. Part of the reason why I'm doing these shows is to show that we have this large community of people who talk about your soap operas. I'm dead serious, and I'm all about community. And so that's why I do that, because I know my platform's larger than a lot of people's platforms. And I have no problem sharing that. I've always been that way. There's no competition. We're all here. The fans want stuff 24/7. I can't give it to you 24/7. But these all kind of stuff. There's a plenty out there. That's why I have you guys on here. And I want to thank you guys for coming on the show and shit. Donald, I agree. Great answers for everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming on the show. You can go to bed now, Vinnie. No, I understand. I like to sleep too. I understand what he's talking about. We ain't spring chickens anymore. But no, that's the whole point of these soap. I wanted to do these, and because no one else is doing them, only me. I'm doing them, and I want to do more. I'm doing more of them because there are a lot of great podcasts out there of all kinds, and these are we're all four of us are examples of regular folk who are doing this, and you just at any level. And so, if anybody wants to do this, I say try it. If you want to do it, get your friends together. And have a good time. I mean, seriously, and it can be a lot of fun. So, and I know some of you guys in the chat are who do this also. Brandon is saying that's dope. Suds and Square Circle, dope combo of soaps and wrestling. I like that. Well, then check him out, Brandon Larkins.
Hey,
go to his channel. Check him out. Don't just talk. Check him out. Follow him. Also, underneath this video, I'll actually have links to their stuff. Amanda Russ, tell folks. Well, when I can. You also have another podcast on your own, but tell them where they can find you.
Yes, you can find me everywhere at the Bold and Beautiful Podcast and at Russ 360.
And this Sunday, we're here. This Sunday, we are here doing Wide Are Bold and GH. Then we go on a little small hiatus, but we will be here this Sunday. Araceli Aviles, thank you so much. Can you tell people where they can find you?
You can find me every Sunday at Addition Days, and my personal social media is at Dia323 Araceli.
Está bien. Like that. Take a buena noche. And Vinnie, your mini empire. Tell them.
So, you can find me on Twix at Vinnie Suds is my personal one, at Suds Media, which is for the network. YouTube.com/@Suds-Media. And Suds and Squared Circle or Suds Media anywhere. Just look it up. It'll pop up, whatever combination is on whatever social media it is. But suds-media.com is the place to be, where you get all the information there.
He said Twix, I got hungry. Okay. So,
right?
What? I got hungry. I don't know about something like Twix. Okay, I love that.
You're like, where's the Twix at?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't have any. I want some chocolate. I don't know what's going on. And you know where you can find. Okay, yes, Candace, we love you too. Whatever. Okay, you know you can find.
Whatever, Candace.
Oh my God,
you're not on this one.
So before you give your thing, I do want to say, for any soap or wrestling podcasters out there that want to promote themselves. Coming up on August 1st, we're having our annual Sudsy Awards. So anybody that wants to be a presenter, we have a few slots open. Let me know, DM me, Suds Media, and let me know if you want to be a presenter. We've got a ton of the who's who of soap podcasters and wrestling podcasters as presenters. Coming up on August 1st. So let me know if you want to promote something, and I'll work to fit you in. And the voting is still open too. So let me know. Follow our
check it out. I guess I have to mention Edition Days is having the Edition Days Awards. I know they're working every year, they're working on them again. The Emmys are later this year. The Emmys are in October, which kind of messes up everything because Day of Days is also November 8th. It's like, so check out. We do all that stuff on that stuff too. So just saying. So see all this soap stuff going on, folks. There's all this soap stuff going on. And stop asking if I'm going to the Emmys this year. I have no idea until I find out who the people are running the Emmys after all my mess last year. We'll see what happens.
I'm
an Emmy voter. I'm an Emmy voter. I'm an Emmy judge.
Oh, you are? Yay.
I still am. No, I don't know that part. The Emmys didn't get rid of me. It was the staff of the PR people that I fought with. But no, the Emmys themselves, they love me. I'm still an Emmy judge. I vote and judge.
Yes.
I vote and judge all the time.
I can tease that we have an imminent announcement for our Edition Days awards. Yes. So you might want to tune in this Sunday if you're looking forward to that every year. Tune
in. Shit. And also this Sunday might be a surprise on GH Report. GH Report is my old show. GH Me Spotlight. So just you're gonna want to tune in this weekend. Back to my thing. Hi. You can find me where all James Lott Jrs are sold at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms. I've been saying that for 10 years. That's James Lott Jr. everywhere, including TikTok, where I'm a TikTok star. Right now, besides the bread and refrigerator, that video, of course, that I'm a millionaire off of, I am charting the course of my century plants. If you want to know what that means, go to my TikTok and you'll see the videos of my century plants and its emergence. The whole TikTok is and following the journey of my century plants.
I love it. I love it.
So you see that, Amanda, right? You've seen it. That whole big thing. Yes.
Your whole garden. His garden is ridiculous. It is amazing.
Yes, and you guys can't go. We love you. I will see you Thursday night with a whole other crop of soap hosts. Again, support daytime, support your soap hosts, support these people. We'll see you next time.